Spiral from the Book of Saw. This is the latest installment of the Saw franchise. I really liked the first Saw movie when it came out, saw it in theaters. Loved the twist ending at the end of that. And it was a great starting off point for Lee Winnell and James Wan's career. I even like Saw 1, 2, and 3 that I saw in theaters. I don't think I saw any of the other movies in the franchise past Saw 4, though. I kind of just lost interest. I thought Spiral might get me back invested into this franchise with Chris Rock cast as the main protagonist and Darren Lynn Bousman coming back to direct the movie. Also starring in this movie though is Max Minghella, Marisol Nichols, and Samuel L. Jackson. The reason why I lost interest in this franchise was that the movies were leaning more towards the gruesome, gross out horror with the contraptions the characters were stuck in. Spiral then continued this trend, I thought. I found myself getting so grossed out that I had to look away from the screen a few times. One guy was put in a device that pulled his skin off his fingers that were super disgusting and gross. It really stood out in my mind after seeing that. Now, Spiral follows Detective Ezekiel Banks, played by Chris Rock, and his rookie partner, Detective William Shank, as they try to find and capture the copycat Jigsaw killer. This killer is targeting corrupt cops in their precincts, and they are put as a lead to try to catch this killer. I thought the killer's plan was way too elaborate and unrealistic given what happens in the movie. Too many things had to fall in place for the killer, for him to get his victims and him to get his motive and his motivation of why he's doing this. The killer is mainly focused on Banks because he turned in a dirty cop early in his police career, resulting in him losing the respect of his fellow officers. But too many perfect scenarios had to happen and fall into place, like I said before, to make this plan work. And it was just unbelievable with everything that happened in the movie. An attempt was made to try to swerve the audience too in guessing who the killer was, but failed because I found out the identity of the killer after one critical scene, and it kind of lost all impact for once it was revealed to me. Now, the Saw movies were never about trying to find out the killer. You always knew it was Jigsaw, but what you came for was these torture devices that were killing these victims. And from what I remember, the other Saw movies, the victims always had a way out, always had a way to survive these torture devices. Well, this movie told us that the victims had a way to get free. It seemed that that option to get free would never happen given their the spot they're in inside these torture machines. The only conclusion was death for these victims. I did not like this because it is saying that people cannot change, and this is just not the case. This killer was just after bloodlust for these cops that were corrupt and trying to teach them a lesson rather than them learning a lesson and changing as a human being like other Saw movies did before. This movie did definitely have plenty of victims stuck in these torture devices, but the movie was also trying to use Chris Rock's comedic skills with senseless conversation that I guess should have made me laugh. There's at least two pointless scenes in this movie, I thought. The first being Chris Rock talking about Forrest Gump, and the other I completely don't remember. It was completely pointless and went in and out of my brain as soon as I saw it. I was like, can we get to the action? Can we get to what this movie is about rather than these pointless scenes that are trying to make me laugh and don't? The two scenes definitely should have been cut from this movie, but overall, Chris Rock does give an okay, serious performance. I just could not get past the fact that I was watching Chris Rock and he never really embodied the character of Detective Banks. All I saw was Chris Rock. He really should stick to comedies from now on and not delve back into these horror genres. I found his performance to be similar to that of Jim Carrey in the number 23 movie. It's not bad, but you can never get invested in the character because I saw the actor playing the part the whole time, and I never saw anything but Chris Rock or Jim Carrey that for that matter in number 23 and in Spiral with Chris Rock. A lot of hip hop songs were used in this movie that I could have been because Chris Rock was in the movie as well, but the songs did not mix well with the tone of the movie and fell out of place. I did think the score was really good though and reminded me of previous Saw films, but just mixing that with the popular hip hop songs of today just fell out of place, and trying to get some audience members excited to see this with their favorite songs, but they should just stick to strictly the score of the movie and not try to get these hip hop songs placed in there at random spots. Ultimately, there's three problems I had with this movie that I have to discuss here. The first, the movie seemed to be edited together weirdly and badly, in my opinion. There are multiple times that Chris Rock changed outfits within the first 20 minutes of this movie. All the events happen within the same day, but from scene to scene his clothes changed to something else, then back to the original clothes, and then to something completely different. It just didn't make sense and was very obvious that something was not right here. The other problem I had with the movie was the voice of the killer. He had a strange voice that was not scary at all and just kind of annoying. And then lastly, I did not see any connection to Jigsaw. This movie could have been completely separate from the Saw franchise, just a regular horror movie with trying to find the killer. I need something to connect me to the universe of Saw other than just seeing a picture of Jigsaw on a table. I think the movie is trying to revive this dying Saw franchise stuck in this torture device, but there is no saving this franchise. I give Spiral a 40 out of 100 and probably won't check out any other Saw franchise movies coming up. The gruesome horror was just too much for me. These movies are not what I like to watch, but if you like them, tell me why in the comments below and convince me otherwise. See ya, guys.